I quit my job 2 weeks ago. I guess that means I'm early retired? Hi, I'm Melinda, and I'm so glad you're here. On this channel, we talk about intentional and simple living, which is a natural caveat to living within our means and frugal living. I unexpectedly, my husband and I decided it was time for me to quit my corporate job. This was about 2 years earlier than we had planned. I am currently 54. My husband is 60 in just a few weeks. And we are on a trajectory to both of us would retire in 2 years when he turned 62 and began to pull his Social Security, and I would retire along with him. We have been planning this for many, many years. However, life brings different circumstances, and that has led us into finding it pertinent that I no longer could maintain my position at my corporate job. What has enabled us to do that is a little backstory, let me give you. And I will be doing other videos in more detail about the different seasons of our life financially and how we have planned financially and raised a large family. We've been married 21 years and raised 7 sons, and we are now empty nesters. And for about the last 17 or so years, I have worked in corporate America. Prior to that, I did have a couple of my own businesses, one of them being a home cleaning and organization business. So I was able to run my schedule around our kids. It was important to us to have me available during summertime hours when they would be home, or pick up after school, getting them to school. And once they became kind of middle school, 13, 14 years old, that is when I went out into the corporate workforce, building up over the last 17 years. With that being said, 3 years ago, we did tragically and suddenly lose our first son, our oldest son. And he was 30 years old. And about 2 weeks after his passing, I went back to work. I took about 2 weeks off. And I, in essence, have been powering through. Have you ever heard of the book, The Body Keeps the Score? Yes, it does. All of it has kind of come to a pinnacle where my husband and I have decided that we're going to reorganize. We're going to kind of pivot financially to enable me to just pull back from my full-time corporate job a couple years early. And I want to share with you how we're able to do that and apply that today, because the choices that we made many years ago, 20 years ago, even prior to us meeting at 20 years, and me being a single mom to my 5 kids, and living simply, intentionally, being cognizant of the choices that I'm making, of what brings us value. It all, unfortunately, leads back to money and whether we have enough of it or not. And the habits that I carried when I met my husband, and us becoming a blended family, raising 7 kids, and having a really wonderful life, a full life, living on a modest income, putting the priorities of our family and the kids and me being there first, really choosing how we were going to spend our money, where we would shop, to buy our groceries, and the times that we would choose to spend our money by even eating out or cooking at home was a huge habit. And all of our kids played sports, and we were very involved in sports and even traveling with sports, and we were able to do all of that by choosing wisely and living with the essentials and what would bring us value or not financially, where we put our dollars. And that has now brought us full circle to where we're able to say, hold on, what's working, what's not working in our life, and what wasn't working was my job anymore. And in future videos, I do want to share more in more depth, but overall, us living intentionally, simply through our life, been able to sometimes not invest at all at different seasons, depending on jobs. We've had major job losses. We have had to do side hustles to maintain our house payment and groceries on the table for 7 growing boys. But by God's grace, we have tried to stay on the narrow path and stay focused. And so grateful to be able to now pivot and implement those habits that we did when we were a house full to now it's just my husband and I. And we currently live in a 2-bedroom home. We are very careful on what is going in, what is coming up. As you can imagine, we have a big family with our 6 remaining kids. We have 9 grandkids. And that is what has truly brought us value. We have 1 vehicle that we share. And all of these habits have enabled us to be able to now, I don't like the word retire, early retirement, but in essence, that's what I'm doing. I will not be entering back into the corporate workforce. We're not seeing any need for me to do that. So I am given the opportunity now to explore new hobbies, new relationships, new adventures. And the choosing less, choosing what's truly important over these years is what is so worth it now. So I want to encourage you that it is never too late to eliminate, to bring it back to the essentials, to truly do a soul search for yourself. What's not working? What might be breaking you down, but you're afraid to let go? Even an ego-driven fear. Well, what do people think? An example of this would be kids moved out, left for college. We sold our family home and we moved into a 2-bedroom townhouse and we rented. And it was such a change from our family home. So we began downsizing our life. And people asked, oh, are you okay? What's going on? Is one of you sick? It was very interesting. For us, it was freedom. It was so liberating to get rid of things, to not have to worry about home ownership for a period of time. And we ended up living in that townhouse for 3 years. Our house payment went in half. Our rent, we didn't have to do any maintenance on our home during that time. We realized the how liberating it was. We began to carpool to work together. and got rid of one of our cars. And essentially, we were saving so much money. And our kids would still come home for the holidays. We would just pack the townhouse. We would camp out on the floor or have some on the couch. You know, we still had a 2-bedroom. It worked. It's amazing what you can make work when you set your intention. So I'm hoping on my channel and moving forward, I want to share with you deeper details of how we've been able to do this, how I'm able to, I'll go ahead and say it, retire early at 54 years old. And it's even infused my husband, even though he is still working, there's an excitement when you set yourself up for success. And ultimately, it's within your control. And it's never too late. What brings you value? Please, in the comments, let me know what you might be more curious about learning about our life and what we've done and how simply we live. You can subscribe. And until next time, thanks so much for being here.